Okay, finally we are live. Hello everyone. I hope you guys are well and good, and we are doing good. No, नशे में नहीं. It is not under the any kind of substance abuse. So mic was not working. Some other trouble, and I decided to restart the system, and system decided to update itself. You see, everything was happening and nothing under my control. So this is something you have to bear with me. Again, not a very tech savvy person. So the topic for today is 2023, how it is going to be for you. So, but before even go to 2023, this is what I did this morning. I asked in the YouTube chat, in the YouTube community post, and I asked in the Telegram group as well. If you're not in Telegram group, please go there as well. The ID is Lunar Astro 108 in Telegram. So I asked in both of the groups, how was year 2022 for you? Did you find your focus was on the moon itself? And if that is true, then we can go out and work on this particular combination or this particular technique. We can make more predictions from this. So overall, the response was 87%, I think. Last time I saw on YouTube, around 80% in the Telegram group. So anything which is working over 80%, and with a lot of people giving out feedbacks like bang on, it works in these many cases, it works in this many cases, I think that's a pretty good technique. And we should actually work on that. We should now go ahead and make predictions for 2023. So 2023 is the year which is going to be ruled by Saturn. Now, before you freak out, it is not going to be a bad year. That's one thing, because Saturn has multiple houses when it comes to this particular system. In this system, this is a very happy, very energetic type of Saturn. This is the one which is going to create the balance. This is the year which is going to give you new opportunities in terms of work. But now it depends on where your Saturn is placed. This is how you have to decide. So let's suppose your Saturn is placed in a bit challenging position like in Aries. So Aries have multiple aspects of it. What you can do is, what you can see in your chart is, if this is a year of Saturn, if your Saturn is in Aries, this is the year where your new work is going to start. Or Saturn in first house is placed, something related to new business, new profession, a new opportunity is going to come your way. This is what you can expect. Second thing, what you can expect from Saturn, if your Saturn is with Mars, so I would suggest you control your anger. Saturn is, let's suppose, and you have to use this technique in multiple ways. Like Saturn in first house, and it is related to your health, it is related to profession, something new is going to start. When Saturn goes in second house, this is related to family. This is related to your business partners. This is related to your resources. Be very careful with resources. Your resources are going to increase. So when your Saturn is in third house, like somebody is commenting, Shakti Sekhar, right? You are Gemini moon, but I'm telling you, by your name itself, you have a very prominent Mars. Nikunj Mehta, prominent Saturn. Or Jaswini, prominent Sun. So I can make on predictions on you, but let me complete this. I will answer your questions. Saturn in third house. This is a year where you're going to start learning any new hobby, new sports. And I would suggest start making diaries. Be very organized in this particular year. Saturn in second house, start bringing discipline in your food. Start bringing discipline in your finances as well. Like, you can see this from now. As December has arrived, Saturn second house, whoever is here in present in our class, you must have started bringing discipline in terms of your finances. Saturn in fourth house, you need to focus on the construction of the house, redevelopment of the house. You need to be very useful to other people. This is what the Saturn 4th house is going to be. I'm going to discuss all the Saturns. Why you are in a hurry? Saturn, see, this is a year when, let's suppose your Saturn is in 4th house, but it is in sign of Aries. So you can say you have to change your place, and then the profession will start, and something new is going to start. You can see the truth of this prediction by your moon, where your moon was placed in last year, and how it actually behaved. You can actually take out timings. See, when you go in advanced levels of this particular technique, you will realize, let's suppose you have a Saturn 29 degrees. So this will happen exactly at the end of a year, in the December. You can always take planet setting with Saturn, planet setting in association with Saturn, then also it is going to happen. Saturn, if it is Saturn when it is in 5th house, this is a year we are going to get the fame, position, respect for your hard work. But this is also the year where you're going to challenge the government. This is the year where you're going to challenge the authority as well. Modi Ishan, you are jobless because you have a Rahu issue in your chart. You need to focus on the Rahu issue. Just tell me where your Rahu is, and this is why you have what is the relation of Rahu to your 10th house or 10th lord. This is the problem in your chart. Saturn in 6th house. This is the year where you're going to be compassionate for animals. You have to be useful for people who cannot raise their voices. Saturn in 6th house does brilliant in competitive exams. Saturn in 6th house, these are the people who are very passionate towards teaching others. They become the support for other people. Saturn in 6th house. Saturn in 7th house. This is the year you can take a balance, risk investments, go for investments in your life. This is the year where you will start working towards the relationships. Saturn in 7th house is also about making new partners. Saturn 8th, Scorpion Saturns. If you have a Scorpion Saturn, be careful of your married life, because Scorpion Saturn is not a very good position for the married life issues. And if you have a Scorpion Saturn, see how the married life is going actually. Saturn in 9th house, problem with the bosses, overseas travels. Saturn in 9th house works and makes troubles for the boss's father, health of the father. This is what your focus should be in this particular year. Try to maintain low profile in terms of making challenges to the boss. Saturn 10th house. Saturn 10th house, this is a year where you have to bear the pressure, work hard, and do not expect much of the gains, because Saturn 10th house is about upgrading your skills. So you will actually work in upgrading your skills. You will sign up for new course, you will go for new trainings, look for new jobs. This is what the Saturn 10th house can be. Now Saturn 11th. Whenever the Saturn 11th, if you have a Saturn 11th house, this is a year where every day you will have a new idea related to business. This is a fearless year for you. And Saturn 12th, if you have, this is a time period where you will work from background, where you will, Saturn 12th has one problem, which is of expenses which will happen without useless expenses, problems in the family life. Because you see, Saturn is wherever Saturn is setting, more than this, the aspects of Saturn are going to create troubles. So that is why be careful of what you are actually making expenses of. Saturn 12th. But when Saturn is with Mars, I will, one thing which I will suggest all of you is, you see, this year there will be accidents more than what happens. I mean, the chances are there will be accidents which will be created or remembered for lifetime. For if I talk in general terms, like a train accident or a flight accident, this is what will happen this year. This is a year where you will see some one of the religious gurus will go into the scandal due to ladies. This is what's going to happen, because I've seen this repetitive patterns when I was working on this particular system. This is a repetitive pattern. It has happened. Like one of the church sex scandal came out. It was the same position. So that is why you will see this is going to happen throughout the world. But take care while driving, because Saturn is a karka for driving. So vehicles will automatically will come in picture. One of the good things which will happen is we will have a breakthrough in the space programs. When I say space programs, it means missile programs. You will see a lot of countries will develop new technologies in terms of space warfare or technology warfare. This is what's going to happen. Reshma, we have a prominent moon, and this moon has a connection with the Venus in the chart. That's why married life issues will happen in your life. So Saturn in Aquarius in 7th house. So that clearly shows that's a gain from partnerships. But also this shows, Aquarius is a sign which is uncontrollable. This shows Saturn Aquarius 7th house, uncontrollable spouse, uncontrollable partners who constantly bug you for doing new things, constantly try new things. And I can tell you, Saturn Aquarius 7th house, you have tried lot of nail biting things in your relationships. This has already happened. So Atul Jada, we are suffering from, okay, I couldn't read it. Okay, so which particular planet to invest in? I mean, somebody is asking. I'm not allowed to give out names of the stocks, but I will suggest go for what Saturn represents. Steel. Saturn represents automobiles. I just told you, automobiles, cars. This is what you need to focus on. Saturn also represents loans. So credit companies who are into finances, oil, exactly. Now you go ahead and take out the names of those stocks. I have already invested in them. Go ahead, invest in it, and you will not go wrong. I mean, last year I did 70% overall. This is what I did last year in terms of stocks, because I do not sell and buy every day. I buy stocks at the starting of a particular year, and then I wait for 2 or 3 years or 1 year at least. But they give out pretty decent returns based on this particular thing. One also, what I will suggest to you is, if you are into stocks, there's an article in magazine. Please follow that one as well. That article series is going to teach you how to pick your multi-baggers every year. So with this particular speed, does anyone know how I can slow down the speed so I can reach down the comments and make predictions? I was actually in a mood to make predictions today. If you guys can slow down a bit, I will be able to predict a little bit more about you. Okay, so just give me a second. Let me slow down. Then I should not sell. Landmark car company got IPO, but wait for it. If you got that particular IPO, usually see, you should never take IPOs, because IPOs has a lot of risk, and secondly, then you have to wait for their initial settle down. Always go for the settled out companies. Always look for the multi-baggers, which are, I never invest in stocks more than of 100 rupees, because then you have to get your capital invested in a very big amount. One more thing related to this particular combination of Saturn is focus on degrees. This is what I would suggest to you. So if your plant is at 15 degrees, at the mid of the year, this is going to give the results. If the plant is at starting degrees, 0 degree, 1 degree, then it is going to give you results at the starting of the year. But let's suppose it is retrograde. So you can see the plant will give 1 degree retrograde will give you results at 29 degrees. 29 degree retrograde will give you results at 1 degree. This is how they actually work. Whenever the year of Saturn has run, and especially this particular Saturn has run, major changes in life has happened, especially if you have a exalted Saturn, debilitated Saturn, or retrograde Saturn, or a Scorpion Saturn, because Scorpio is a house of Saturn where Saturn becomes extremely comfortable. It brings major changes in life. But let's suppose you have a Saturn which is placed in a combust position. Sun, Saturn, combust. So you see, combustion is not a very good state of a planet like Saturn. This is the year where you will not feel very comfortable in your position, and you have to give out your powers to someone else. But let's suppose the dispositor of Saturn, let's suppose the dispositor, now Saturn is the first prime of AC, right? So Saturn will give you the first result. This is how you're going to feel. Well, let's suppose your Saturn's dispositor is well placed. Your Saturn is sitting in house of Venus and Venus is exalted. Then you know that eventually in my year the final result is actually good, because the final dispositor of Saturn is well placed. If your Saturn's dispositor is in 6, 8, 12, or Saturn is placed in 12th house but a dispositor is well placed, then it's going to be extremely troublesome year. 6, 8, 12 is not a good position. It's going to bring out challenges. This is what the Saturn is going to do. So Saturn retro 6th house Aquarius, somebody has written. I was able to read only this much. Saturn retro 6th house Aquarius. So whenever Saturn goes in 6th house, it's about hard work. You have to put in extra hard work. You have become extremely competitive. I have seen people Saturn 6th house extremely compassionate, at the same time extremely competitive. Even when you play cricket with them, they are always on the verge of that they need to win. They do not do anything to lose. Secondly, it's Aquarius, so it's a sign of gain. So you're gaining from the competition, from hard working, from medicines. That is what Saturn 6th house is going to give you. Saturn 6th house, they are brilliant in writing. Focus your energy in writing. Whenever Saturn is with Ketu is a Karka for Moksha. Saturn is Bandhan. So imagine two different planets, two different energies sitting with each other. One wants to liberate you. One wants to create bondage. Saturn creates bondage. So Saturn Ketu together, one of them has to win, and that is why the Saturn Ketu creates constant disputes. That's why Ketu 10th house, not a good position for doing jobs. Whenever Sun-Saturn combination, I just read someone's comment, Sun-Saturn combination. The Sun-Saturn combination is good combination in 5th house, 7th house, 9th house, in Lagna. The reason being is, or in 10th house. The reason being is one of them is gaining complete control. Let's suppose Sun-Saturn 7th house. I think this is a combination I've seen in the chart of either in one of the PM's chart. I don't remember it now because I was looking at one of the 15 PM's charts of India. Sun-Saturn combination in D9 in 7th house. You see, all the PMs, all the people who have gained fame in their life, their Saturn is linked to Sun somehow in their chart. 10th Lord and 5th house is a combination for fame. 5th Lord and 10th house, combination for government jobs, fame. So Saturn's in combinations in 5, 7, 9, Lagna and 10th house is extremely beneficial. Okay, we are not discussing Rahu today. Saturn and Capricorn in 8th house. Okay, so 8th house, whenever the Saturn and Capricorn 8th house, first of all, you will not have a normal job. One thing. Secondly, your job will be related to either to the 8th house matters. You see, Capricorn is pressure. And again, 8th house is extremely transformative. So imagine the kind of work or job the person will be doing. It cannot be a normal job. It has to be either a research job, either she has to go into the job of where there will be regular breaks in job. This is what the Saturn 8th house Capricorn will do. Saturn Capricorn 7th house. Okay, I've done that. You should listen to the. Should we consider Navasa placement? Yes, you should do. Because any planet, Navansh, or more than the Navansh, if you are looking for Navansh, is mostly for marriage. Let's suppose your Saturn is in place in 8th house of Navansh. Now, 8th house is the death of marriage. So, this Navansh placement will tell you that this is not a good time period for the marriage time period. When it is in Lagna, it will show you disinterest in marriage. This is how you have to see from Navansh. Again, you have to see for profession, go for Dashansh. You have to see for studies, go for D24. This is how you divide things. Saturn retro 9th house. Okay, but tell me one thing. Once we have started doing the predictions on different positions of Saturn, can you see if this is actually working in your chart? Can you see if the theme has started playing from last 10-15 days? The effect of Saturn has started placing, that Saturn is going to bring discipline. Have you started being more into discipline or the transformative phase of Saturn wherever it is placed in your chart? Okay, how did I knew Saturn will rule the following year? Okay. So this is not coming from the Vedic astrology. This is one thing which is very clear. This is coming from a very old traditional Western astrologer. His name was Donald Y. Yacht. So I was reading one of his books, and in one of his books, this was the technique mentioned up. So this is what I have. This is from where I have picked up this, add some portions of mine, and this is how I've come up with this. And again, I've tried it, tested it on several people. I've asked them, was the theme of you in this past year, in this particular year? And once they confirmed, then I knew that this is actually working, and you can see this in the poll as well. So this is not something from the Vedic astrology. Because once we'll make one of the sun and moon goes in Pisces, and new moon will rise from the Pisces, then we'll make the new year chart according to Hinduism. But again, this is the Georgian calendar, and we should follow this one. But overall, what I've seen is, it does not matter from which planetary system you're using. You can use numerology, you can use tarot card, you can use this one. Any system you will use, the results will be same. Everyone will have a different way to interpret the chart. It depends on the astrologer. People predict from myths, right? I predict sometimes from names as well. But that does not mean that the prediction from name is wrong and this one is better. I can tell you for fact, a girl who met me last year in the conference came for the consultation. I looked at her chart and said, wear the blue sapphire. And she said, the last time you looked at me in the conference, you also told me to wear the blue sapphire. It was only by looking at her. Again, looking at the chart, same thing. So sometimes there are different ways to look at the chart. This is actually one of them. No, I'm not using tropical sign. I'm using the Vedic sign. I have adapted some certain ways in it, and it works. Also, something which you should incorporate, something which you should see according to this. See, last time this happened, it was 2012. Now you go back and think, what happened in 2012 with you? How was my 2012? How was Saturn active? What was a major thing happened in 2012 in terms of Saturn? Or what was a major event of 2012? I mean, some of you are very young. You might be in school at that point of time. This is what I feel when I sometimes some of you are more older than me. So 2012, you go back. That was a year of Saturn. Now you can compare that year, compare this year, and then you can tell me how was that year and how this year is going to be. But for a quick reference, you can always see where was the moon in last year in your chart, and how that moon has given you results in last year. Can you go back to 2012 and confirm to me? I mean, that's how why we are doing the live class. Can you go back to 2012? Think about, did your Saturn give results that year or not? Anyhow, in terms of India, it is going to be an extremely challenging year when it comes to banks, finances, fights, and moreover, the country has to be extremely diplomatic this year. I mean, till now, last year India was extremely offensive. There was a standoff between India and US at any point of time. They were not under pressure, but this year the country is going to be under pressure. They have to play extremely diplomatically. This is a year which is going to be a bit troublesome in terms of finances for the country. Okay, at least I made someone cry. Saturn, Mercury in Pisces, Saturn retro Mercury. I just answered this one. So clean. Saturn retro in third house, Aries ascendant. So watch out for your actions, because third house, Aries ascendant, something new in terms of skill is you're going to learn. Saturn retro third house. I will suggest wear a kada, and that's what the name is. As coming from the community, wear the iron kada in your hand. Saturn retrograde third house. If your Saturn is your Atma Karka, Lagan Lord, anywhere ascendant sitting in your Lagna, this is going to be the most, or Atma Karka, this is going to be extremely important year for you. If Saturn goes in whichever house it is sitting, take the significations of that house and see if Saturn is in fourth house, whether or not you are telling your mother to be disciplined. Saturn in third house, whether you're telling your siblings to be disciplined or not. This is what you will continuously tell everyone, to be disciplined. Now give me 1 second. Okay. So my electricity has gone. I think that's too much of Saturn mass has happened. So I'll see you guys next time. You can comment on this, compare your 2012, and I will try to answer. Thank you. Bye bye.